Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Out of the Ordinary. This is episode 4. Let's say hi to a couple people around here. Stephen P. Kitty Cat. Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to see you here. Um, Anybody else that's coming in, hello. Welcome. We're going to be talking about the Loch Ness Monster first here. Calvin, hello. The Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie for short, is a creature in the Scottish folklore that is said to inhabit Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. Hey, what's up, deuces? Genevieve, what's up, man? What's up, girl? Popeye's in the house. So, it is often described as a large, long neck and with one or more humps protruding from the water. Popular interest and belief in the creature has varied since it was brought to worldwide attention in 1933. Okay, let's see. Natalie, hey, what's going on? Welcome. Evidence of its existence is anecdotal, with a number of disputed photographs and sonar readings. The scientific community regards the Loch Ness Monster as a phenomenon without biological basis. What's up, little bit? Explaining sightings as hoaxes and wishful thinking, and the misidentification of the mundane objects. The pseudoscience and subculture of cryptozoology has placed particular emphasis on the creature. On May 29, 1938, South African tourist G. E. Taylor filmed something in the loch for 3 minutes on 16mm color film. The film was obtained by popular science writer Maurice Burton, who did not show it to other researchers. A single frame was published in his 1961 book, The Elusive Monster. His analysis concluded that it was a floating object, not an animal. On the 15th of August, 1938, William Fraser, chief constable of Inverness Shire, wrote a letter that the monster existed beyond doubt and expressed concerns about a hunting party that had arrived. Determined to catch the monster, dead or alive, he believed his power to protect the monster from the hunters was very doubtful. In December of 1954, sonar readings were taken by a fishing boat rival. I guess that's what it is. Its crew noted a large object keeping pace with the vessel at depth of 146 meters or 479 feet. It was detected for 800 meters or 2,600 feet. Before contact was lost and regained, previous sonar attempts were inconclusive or negative. Hi, Angie. Peter McNabb at Urquhart Castle on July 29th of 1955 took a photograph that depicted two long black humps in the water. A photograph was not made public until it appeared in Constance White's 1957 book on the subject. On October 23rd, 1958, it was published by the Weekly Scotsman. Author Ronald Binns wrote that the phenomenon which McNabb photographed could easily be a wave effect resulting from three trawlers traveling closely together up in the loch. Other researchers considered the photograph a hoax. Roy Mackal requested to use the photograph in his 1976 book. He received the original negative from McNabb, but discovered it differed from the photograph that appeared in Wyatt's book. The tree at the bottom left in Wyatt's was missing from the negative. It is suspected that the photograph was doctored by rephotographing a print. On May 21st, 1977, Anthony Doc Shields, camping next to Urquhart Castle, took some of the clearest pictures of the monster until this day. Shields, a magician and psychic, claimed to have summoned the animal out of the water, later described as an elephant squid, claiming the long neck shows in the photograph that it is actually the squid's trunk, and that white spot at the base of the neck, it's its eye. Due to the lack of ripples, it has been declared a hoax by a number of people and received its name because of its staged look. Fast forward to April 19th, 2014, a satellite image on Apple Maps showed what appeared to be a large creature thought by some to be the Loch Ness Monster. Just below the surface of Loch Ness, at the loch's far north, the image appeared about 30 meters or 98 feet long. Possible explanations were the wake of a boat, with the boat itself lost in image, stitching or low contrast. Seal caused ripples or floating wood. So what is the Loch Ness Monster? Is it merely a figment of one's imagination, or could it be a prehistoric aquatic creature? You decide. Little bit of ay. You need to control yourself a little bit. All right, guys. So we go into the alien abduction now. Alien abduction. People have claimed since the mid 1950s to have been kidnapped by extraterrestrials or aliens. People like Antonio Villas-Boas' case, which didn't receive much attention till several years later, or Betty and Barney Hill, again not widely known until several years afterwards. On October 16th, 1957, Villas-Boas would be abducted. Antonio Villas-Boas was a Brazilian farmer, later a lawyer, who claimed to have been abducted by extraterrestrials in 1957. Though similar stories had circulated for years beforehand, Villas-Boas claims were among the first alien abduction stories to receive wide attention. Some skeptics today consider the abduction story to be a little more than a hoax. Although Antonio nonetheless reportedly stuck to his account throughout his life. Which right there, I actually, let's see, Dominic says, comments are being skipped, LOL. Well, I don't know. I'm not in control here. I'm just telling the story. At the time of his alleged abduction, Antonio Villas-Boas was a 23-year-old Brazilian farmer who was working at night to avoid the hot temperatures of the day. On October 16th, 1957, he was plowing fields near São Francisco de Sales when he saw what he described as a red star in the night sky. According to his story, this star approached his position, growing in size until it became recognizable as roughly circular or egg-shaped aerial craft. With a red light at its front and a rotating cupola on top, the craft began descending to land in the field, extending 3 legs as it did so. At that point, Boas decided to run from the scene. According to Boas, he first attempted to leave the scene on his tractor, but when its lights and engine died after traveling only a short distance, he decided to continue on foot. However, he was seized by 1.5 meters, 5 foot, tall humanoid who was wearing gray coveralls and a helmet, which does kind of sound It does kind of sound strange, given that he said that he was wearing gray coveralls and a helmet. But of course, who are we to find? Who are we to know? I mean, anyhow, so he was wearing that. He was wearing the coveralls and stuff, and he says here, its eyes were small and blue, and instead of a speech, it made noises like barks or yelps. Three similar beings joined the first in subduing boas. And Psychomantium says, love it. Dominic says, Mikey, these subjects are great. My brother, yeah, they are. So, three similar beings then joined the first subduing boas, and then they dragged him inside their craft. Once inside the craft, Boas said that he was stripped from his clothes and covered from head to toe with a strange gel. He was then led into a large semicular room through a doorway that had strange red symbols written all over it. Boas claimed that he was able to memorize these symbols and later reproduced them for investigators. In this room, the beings took samples of Boa's blood from his chin. After this, he was then taken to a third room and left alone for around half an hour. During this time, some kind of gas was pumped into the room, which made Boas become violently ill. Shortly after this, Boas claimed that he was joined in the room by another humanoid. This one, however, was female, very attractive, and naked. She was the same height as the other beings he had encountered, with a small, pointed chin and large blue cat-like eyes. The hair on her head was long and white, somewhat like a platinum blonde. But her underarm and pubic hair were bright red. Boas said that he was strongly attracted to the woman, and the two had sexual intercourse. During this act, Boas noted that the female did not kiss him, but instead nipped him on the chin. So, let's see here in the comments real quick. Dominic says, my eyes are also small and blue. Angie says, Signs is another good movie. Yeah, that is an actual good movie. Okay, PBDC says, just to let everyone know, Dom and Tom will explore. Let's see here. Stephen P. Kitty Cat says, debauchery. A little bit says, Dom can kidnap me. Calm down there a little bit. Down, girl, down. When it was all over, the female smiled at Boas, rubbing her belly, and gestured upwards. Boas took this to mean that she was going to raise their children up in space. The females seemed relieved that their task was over, and Boas himself said that he felt angered by the situation because he felt as though he had been a little more than a good stallion for the humanoid. So this dude was catching feelings for this humanoid. Yeah. That would be something, I mean, can you imagine inner I don't know what you call it. I guess you'd call it interterrestrial mating or something. But yeah, that would be something interesting, humans and aliens mating. Anyhow, Boas said that he was then given back his clothing and taken on a tour of the ship by the humanoids. Psychomantium says, clapping aliens' cheeks, yo. Relieved that her duties were completed. During this tour, he said that he attempted to take a clock-like device as proof of his encounter, but was caught by the humanoids and prevented from doing so. He was then escorted off the ship and watched as it took off, glowing brightly. When Boas returned home, he discovered that 4 hours had passed. Must have been some good shit. And Dominic says, extraterrestrial. That I guess that's what that if that's the correct spelling. Yeah. Antonio Villas-Boas later became a lawyer, married, and had 4 children. He stuck to the story of his alleged abduction for his entire life. Though some sources say he died in 1992, he died on January 17th of 1991. Dominic says, "God damn, tell him to beam me up." Beam up the deuces. And then Stephen P. Kitty Cat says 4 hours, and she still brushed him off. Right? Must have had major chafing after 4 hours. Barney and Betty Hill, another one of the most famous abductions that is rarely known, was rarely known back then, but now. So let's start with this. Barney and Betty Hill were an American couple who claimed they were abducted by extraterrestrials in a rural portion of the state of New Hampshire from September 19th to the 20th of 1961. It was first widely publicized report of an alien abduction in the United States. The incident came to be called the Hill Abduction and the Zeta Reticuli Incident because the star map shown to Betty Hill could possibly be Zeta Reticuli system, according to some researchers. Farmer Damon, probably because they ran out of KY gel. Farmer, get a hold of yourself there, buddy. Their story was adapted into the best-selling 1966 book, The Interrupted Journey, and the 1975 television movie, The UFO Incident. In September 2016, plans were announced to make a film based on the events, with an unknown release date. So does anybody know if that movie actually came out? If there was any movie about them? Just leave a comment there. According to a variety of reports given by the Hills, the alleged UFO sighting happened on September 19th, 1961, around 10:30 p.m. The Hills were driving back to Portsmouth from a vacation in Niagara Falls and Montreal. So Calvin says, if your erection lasts for 4 hours, seek alien chicks immediately. Good one, Calvin. Just south of Lancaster, New Hampshire, Betty claimed to have observed a bright point of light in the sky that moved from below the moon and the planet Jupiter, upwards to the west of the moon. While Barney navigated U.S. Route 3, Betty reasoned that she was observing a falling star. Only it moved upwards. Since it moved erratically and grew bigger and brighter, Betty urged Barney to stop and the car for a closer look, as well as walk their dog. Deasley. Barney stopped at a scenic picnic area just south of Twin Mountain. Dominic says, E.T. phone home. Betty, looking through the binoculars, observed an odd-shaped craft flashing multicolored lights travel across the face of the moon. Because her sister had several years earlier said she had seen a flying saucer, Betty thought it might be what she was observing. Through binoculars, Barney observed what he reasoned was a commercial airliner traveling towards Vermont on its way to Montreal. However, he soon changed his mind without looking, as if it had turned. The craft rapidly descended in his direction. The observation caused Barney to realize this object that was a plane was not a plane. Hey, Tom. They quickly returned to the car and drove towards the Franconia Notch, a narrow a narrow mountainous stretch of road. The Hills claimed that they continued driving on the isolated road, moving very slowly at Francoma's Notch in order to observe the object as it came even closer. At one point, the object passed above a restaurant and a signal tower on top of Cannon Mountain and came out near Old Man of the Mountain. Betty testified that it was at least 1.5 times the length of a granite cliff profile, which was 40 feet or 12 meters long, and that it seemed to be rotating. The couple watched as the silent illuminated craft moved erratically and bounced back and forth in the night sky. So Dominic here says, I legit seen a UFO. However, unfortunately, there was no loss of 4 hours of time. Huh. Well, maybe you should have wooed him or something, Dominic. Give him that old two books charm. Offer him some Popeyes. Approximately 1 mile south of Indian Head, they said, the object rapidly descended towards their vehicle, causing Barney to stop in the middle of the highway. The huge silent craft hovered approximately 80 to 100 feet or 24 to 30 meters above the Hills' 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air and filled the entire field of view in the windshield. So Psychomantium says it was only 2 minutes of time. And Tom says, love that chicken Popeyes. And Stephen P. Kitty Cat says, ow, savage. Yeah. So it reminded Barney of a huge pancake. Carrying his pistol in his pocket, he stepped away from the vehicle and moved closer to the object. Using the binoculars, Barney claimed to have seen about 8 to 11 humanoid figures who were peering out of the craft's window, seeming to look at him. In unison, all but one figure moved what appeared to be a panel on the rear wall of the hallway that encircled the front portion of the craft. So this dude holds his pistol and like you're experiencing aliens and you think your chump pistol's going to do something about it. Yeah, they probably have phasers and stuff. So Farmer says, I'm originally from New England area, from the state of Maine, and the town is pronounced Portsmouth. Okay. Where was I? Okay. The one remaining figure continued to look at Barney and communicated a message telling him to stay where you are and keep looking. Barney had a recollection of observing the humanoid forms wearing glossy black uniforms and black caps. Men in black. Red lights on what appeared to be bat wing fin began to telescope out of the sides of the craft, and a long structure descended from the bottom of the craft. The silent craft approached what Barney estimated was 50 to 80 feet or 15 to 24 meters overhead and 300 feet or 91 meters away from him. On October 21st, 1961, Barney reported to the National Investigations Committee on the Aerial Phenomenon Investigator, Walter Webb, that the beings were somehow not human. Psycho Mantium 13, bat wings. Where did my ex-wife show up? I know that's Frank. Barney tore the binoculars away from his eyes and ran back to his car in a near hysterical state, he told Betty. They're going to capture us. He saw the object again shift its location directly above the vehicle. He drove away in a high speed, telling Betty to look for the object. She rolled down the window and looked up. Almost immediately, the Hills heard a rhythmic series of beeping and buzzing sounds, which they said seemed to bounce off the trunk of their vehicle. The car vibrated, a tingling sensation passed through the Hills' bodies. The Hills said that then they experienced the onset of an altered state of consciousness that left their minds dulled. A second series of beeping or buzzing sounds returned the couple to full consciousness. They found out that they traveled nearly 35 miles or 56 kilometers south, but had only vague, spotty memories of this section of road. They recalled making a sudden, sharp, unplanned turn, encountering a roadblock, and observing a fiery orb in the road. So what do you think? Are aliens among us, or are these people delusional? My opinion is that aliens do exist. If us humans exist, why can't they? That's my show for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and follow and share out Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Man Tim 13, Roots Bleed Red, PBDC TV. Many thanks to the great ones, Odd Mother, Cemetery Joe, Liz and Frank. Thank you guys. Liz and Frank are a big help with my shows. Thank you both. This was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. I'm Mikey for Out of the Ordinary saying good night.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. Do not attempt to adjust your device. There is nothing wrong with it. I am here to deliver a message. Join Psycho Bunny Death Cult in our anti-censorship campaign. Free your mind. Free your head.
It's that time, kids. Hold on to your heads. Join Psychomantium 13. Each week for thrills, chills, and a horrific good time. Don't lose your head. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. There is nothing wrong with your device. Join me here on Psycho Bunny DC. A delightfully dreadful consternation of horror content. Use your head and free your mind.